Hey guys, what's going on? So today we got the Brookfield Wheels Days. This is 2022 Wheels Days, and they have changed promoters here at Brookfield once again, and that's the reason why I came back. And guys, I'm kind of glad I did. This looks like a pretty good turnout here today. Still got cars coming in, but I decided to get the Prelude out of the way because I wanted to get in the grandstands earlier this time around, just to make sure I got a good seat. So we got vans, we got full size, we got compacts, which vans it hasn't been ran here in a few years from what I remember, like an actual dedicated van seat, and the payout's supposed to be pretty good too. So we'll see. So we'll start off this Dodge right here, this Dodge Caravan, a little bit on the rotted side, but that's all right. This is Central New York. You're gonna get that. We're gonna just go around down here, try not to die in all this stuff laying around. Got a Trailblazer right here.
I've been watching people driving right through that local. You'd think you see tracks would stop.
A Jeep Liberty behind that. What? Oh, you ain't doing that bumper. See how that holds up. We'll see. Got a Dodge.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going? Oh, I got some mud right here.
This been in Herkimer County Fair.
Yep, I recognize it.
Used to be.
My problem.
Wow, got a lot of mud right here, guys. Good thing I wore my boots. Something I regretted not wearing at the Otsego County Fair when I ran that day. Had at least 5 inches of mud on my regular shoes. That kind of sucked, but this truck's pretty well built. You got the folded down back end. This is all gonna keep that back end pretty tough right there. It's gonna be tough, I bet. Got, man, the mud through here is pretty bad. I'm surprised cars aren't getting stuck in all of this. Pits are pretty busy right at the moment. Maybe we'll get some cars by themselves over here. We got full size, like I said. We got some pretty good built full size over here. Got a Crown Victoria right here. It's gonna be 03 and newer, going based off that frame right there. The radiator is literally almost touching that engine, which honestly, probably not a bad setup. Gonna keep that radiator protected as long as possible. Very small radiator, but actually better than looping the lines. You're gonna get more cooling like that. I'm gonna try to not talk too much because you guys aren't gonna be able to hear me too well because of the fact that it is windy. Got a Lincoln Town Car right here. Ford. Got another full size over there. It looks like it's getting worked on at the moment. I don't know if that's running today. We got quite a few cars down there. I'm probably not going to go down there. Wind is bad today. I think the audio isn't going to be great, but and like I said, I'm here a little bit early compared to when guys are actually going to be pulling up their final. The late guys are going to be pulling up pretty soon, but I got to get up to the grandstands because I've learned in this year especially that I just can't wait as long as I have been. Lots of full size here today, guys. That should make for a pretty decent show. A lot of people like full size. I personally prefer the front wheel drive just myself, but I've always wanted to jump in something like this, like a Crown Victoria, just, you know, bone stock, front wheel drive. I don't know if I'd run this particular build against all these other builds, but go ahead and cut across up here. Got a Cadillac right in front of me, right here. We'll go ahead and let's see, which way do we want to go? Let's go from the back and then work our way up to the front. I'll just get this side of the cars and then I'll walk around and get the other side. Honda Accord, Ford Focus behind that. Got a pretty used up Chevy Cavalier right here. Pretty muddy. And a Honda Accord behind that. Excuse me, guys.
What he?
Per ran, looks like. Or it was in an accident, one or two. Ford Focus, like I said.
Stay away from all the fun.
We got some cars down in the pit area still. 21 Santiago. Well, this driver. This guy builds pretty decent cars. Got a Camry here today, of course. Gonna be competitive. You guys can see this is a little bit more built than what Brookfield has been just in recent years. This is actually some of the most built it's been in quite some time. So anybody who came with a stock factory bumper like this guy right here, I'm not saying they can't win, but they're in trouble, I think, because you know, it's just more built. Got a PT Cruiser right here. We know these guys. How's it going?
What's going on?
Got a PT Cruiser. These guys are good drivers, good guys. I'm sure that'll be sent. Of course, we got another one. We got a Camry. This one, I believe, actually ran at Herkimer, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure this one did. I could be totally wrong. I've been to so many demolition derbies this year, guys. I just can't remember one from the other. So who knows? But that should be a pretty tough car. Both pretty tough looking cars there. Subaru, I swear this one ran at Lewis. If I remember correctly, this is the one that ran at Lewis in July. So we'll see how this thing holds up. Got a Camry right here. Early 2000s Camry. Already ran once, it looks like. You doing?
No, fuck him.
And now we got a Scion XB. Interesting to see how this thing does. I like that square back end. We'll see how that holds up. Don't know if these are beefy at all in the back. Kind of a little tiny square tubing on the front of that. That's kind of cool. That's very, I mean, there's my fingers, for example. I mean, that's some of the smaller stuff we've seen today. Better than a stock bumper, obviously. That frame actually doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's pretty small looking, but we'll see how it holds up. And in front of that, we got a Buick. Looks like, what is this, Skylark? Look at that front bumper. That I'd be scared about putting on the front of this. The only reason I'd be scared about putting this big of a bumper on the front of one of these cars is because of the fact that the frame rails in the front of these aren't terribly too tough. And putting a heavy bumper on that like that, one, you're liable to get it ripped off. And two, good thing it's got a chain 9-wired to the hood, and I like the way he has the hood on this. But the thing is that, you know, that bumper is probably going to collapse this frame pretty quick. So we'll see how this thing holds up. No, you never know. That's the best part about demolition derbies. So I keep on telling people, you never know. You can't really say who's going to win until. That's what people love about demolition derbies. That's what I love about demolition derbies. It's just so random. Got some more cars coming in over there, but and weirdly enough, they lined some up over here, so I'm gonna go over there. We know this name. This one we should all know by now, although 4R was painted over, so maybe he doesn't own this car anymore. But look at that. Wow, that's a built car right there. That guy knows how to build cars. Anybody knows who that is. Got a Malibu right here. I swear I recognize this car as well. This one, yes, this would have ran at the Herkimer County Fair. I recognize the paint job. So this would have ran at Herkimer County Fair. Got a Grand Prix in front of that. Pretty stock. Got a different front bumper on it. Got a just square tubing. See how that holds up. In front of that, we got a Honda Accord. Oop. 2-door. These, I wouldn't be scared about putting a bumper like that on the front of. Sorry if I'm not getting the best quality. I can't see the camera screen too well because the sun happens to be right behind me, but those are pretty chunky frames. That's why they hold up okay to the Toyotas, and these things run forever with heat. Everybody knows that about Hondas, so we'll see how that does today. Obviously, the biggest problem with these Hondas, I'd actually consider running Hondas because they're actually cheaper than Camrys, but there's a reason for that. They have these upper ball joints here, which a lot of people know about now, I hope. So that's the reason that they have a problem. Got a Buick Park Avenue, looks like, with a very squatted rear end. We'll see how that does. In front of that Honda, we have a car I haven't seen in a while being derbied. I actually essentially built one of these cars. This is a Chrysler Lh platform car. This is actually a Dodge, I believe this would be a Chrysler Concorde actually. So this should be interesting to see. I haven't seen one of these in quite some time. Got a big beefy front bumper on the front of this. I really don't even know much about these front frames. I'm not a huge fan of these cars, only because of the fact that the motor is not sideways. It's not a transverse motor. This motor sits up right up front here. So you got to be careful with that. All your pulleys are right here, and it's like no gap at all between the core support and the pulleys. So you just got to be careful. That big bumper is going to help though. So we'll see how it does. I like how they have everything moved up here. That is good. This thing's actually pretty well built for what it is. Ours was very, very bone stock. Basically nothing done to that car, and it was out within a few seconds, believe it or not, because it got stuck. But there's still a lot of life in that car. It's just I didn't have any way to bring it home. Yep, this is a Chrysler, so this would be the Chrysler Concorde. In front of that we got the Park Avenue. Oh, it's not in terrible shape in back where they usually rust out.
I was just getting irritated about it. I don't know why either. I don't know, I'm running on an hour and a half of sleep, dude.
Square tubing.
I bought
That's a nice bumper right there. That's a pretty beefy bumper. I don't know how this is going to hold up. I know these frames aren't particularly the best, but you never know. Like I said, I'll keep on repeating it, but I don't feel like repeating it anymore. I'm sure I'm going to start to annoy people. Oh, these are fiberglass fenders too, so those will shatter pretty quick. Surprised they creased the back end of this with how low it's sitting. I feel like it's just going to get ramped over and over again. Although this could be actually a weapon, believe it or not, because of the fact that it's sitting so low, it's going to pass by people's bumpers, and it's actually going to hit directly into the radiator. Or this one happens to be looped, so that's actually pretty smart, because the radiator on these cars sits in front of the core support. And I like how they have the hood also bent down in front of the core support. That's going to help structurally. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. This one, I keep an eye out for this car right here. This is KDA Racing. Keep an eye out for this car. That's going to be interesting to see one of these again in the Derby. Haven't seen one of these in a while. Actually, this is a pretty good view of the frame right here. You know, actually, no, it's pretty small. And this one's not exactly the cleanest. Oh, wow. Okay, we're just going to pretend we didn't see that. It's pretty rotted. So, we'll see. But ours, the one we ran, was actually very clean. Very, very clean. It's too bad that car got basically wasted. It just got stuck. So, anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. And actually, let's go take a look. Maybe they'll even let me up here. Who knows? Now, my question is why do these guys all have the same paint job? I mean, that kind of tells me that they're all together, but I don't know what's going on here. I don't think I'm going to ask, but got some newer cars up in here. Got a Chevrolet Cruze. That's one I haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen a Cruze Derby before. Let's start with the Ford Focus. And behind that, we got the Volvo wagon. Ford Focus, you guys know how I feel about those. Interesting frames on these Volvos. These are pretty decent cars. I've seen them do well, and I've seen them do very bad. I think it has a lot to do with wiring, how people do wiring on those. Chevrolet Cruze. This is going to be I think all aluminum front suspension basically, so we'll see how that holds up. Unfortunately, probably not terribly well. Got a Honda Accord in front of that. Just the four-door version of the white one that's over there. Got a Chevrolet Impala. I like these generation of Chevy Impalas. I think they're going to be pretty decent up in the future Demolition Derby. aluminum subframe, but the thing is that I think these front frames are actually better than the older ones. And you can Lumina swap these subframes. So you can actually put a Lumina subframe in there with a 34 or 3100, and you know, you got a pretty decent machine. You could get Lumina suspension in here. I'm telling you, these back ends are a lot more beefy than people give them credit for, I think. If they're not rotted out, these back ends can be a real weapon in the ring. I can guarantee that for sure. Got a Chevrolet Cobalt right here. Obviously aluminum suspension. I always think the front frames on these look real beefy, but the thing is I saw one bend pretty quick just a few weeks ago when I was watching one on YouTube, so I don't know if they're really as tough as what I thought they were going to be. Usually, you know, you see those big frames there and you think they're going to be tough. The thing is that that's thin metal, then all it is for looks. Got a Subaru out back in front of that, and in front of that we actually got a Volkswagen. That should be interesting to see. These, I don't know how these are going to hold up. I know older Volkswagens do hold up pretty well. We'll see how the wiring holds up. I can see there's a lot of factory wiring down in that headlight there, so we'll see how that holds up. Don't know what the wiring is like on those. Don't know enough about them. Look at this boat. Wow. Man, the trunk is about half the size of most of these mid-size cars. Holy cow. It's sad because I don't even... Is this a New Yorker? You know, it's big enough to be a New Yorker, and with no center pillar like that, it leads me to believe this might be a New Yorker. I could be totally wrong, guys. Like I said, forgive me now. I do not know these cars well enough. So you let me know down in the comments on what this car is. I think it might be a New Yorker. I could be totally wrong about that, but this is one beefy car. I'll tell you that right now. Got a two-door Pontiac, huh? Oh wow, this has a removable top on it. Wow, I'm surprised they let this thing derby. He's got a chain to the A-pillar windshield area. Oh, this is interesting. Wow, how's this thing gonna bend? I bet they have this entire area reinforced, but if it's rusty, that's usually where they rust, is where these GMs rust, is right under there. So, oh, interesting. Huh. I don't think I've ever seen one of these ran before, even on YouTube. It's a G6, but it's got the no pillar. Oh, this should be, oh wow, look how, wow. Look at all that bracing. So yes, this thing's been definitely reinforced, there's no doubt about that. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, it's got factory gas tank underneath too. Then we got a Buick Lesabre next to that. I always love these Sabres. I think they're great cars on the road and in derbies. If you change out the front suspension, these can be real machines out there. This one happens to be a little bit on the crusty side. That's where they like to route out, is right here. So this one's probably going to plow down, if I were to guess. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think these have good front frames on them. That bumper is already pretty well used up. I'm surprised they're using that bumper. And the radiator's right there, and it is hooked up. So, we'll see how that holds up. I mean, that bumper is basically touching the radiator, but decent front frames on these guys. I really think that as long as you fix or do something about this front suspension, these can be pretty decent cars, and obviously do something about limp mode. And right here, I think we got another Honda. Yep, we got another Honda Accord. Interesting battery, gas tank box there. Locked in there. This is pretty well used up, isn't it? This is pretty well used up. We got a, I think this is best show right here, which I think honestly, it'd be between, I don't know if I'd vote for the cow car, but this is a pretty cool paint job, but I think I'd have to go for the police car or this car right here. I do like both of these right here. I always like the cop theme. I think one day I'm gonna do something like a cop theme, especially if I get a Crown Victoria. I'll probably end up doing something like this. So anyway, I'll see you guys, well, for the first heat. I mean, I'll be recording all these heats, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good show here today. So stay tuned and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for more derby action here at the Brookfield Wheel Stays 2022. Alrighty, guys. Stay tuned.